I think the slight risk with Starfield is that they're doing a similar thing that they did with Fallout 76, where they were like, oh, you know, we're gonna make an online game and it's an MMO, but it's also Fallout, and we're basing it on the freaking creation engine that was basically programmed in the Dark Ages. I think at this point, Fallout 76 is alright, from what I hear. To be honest with you, I never played it, but it seems like they tried to achieve too much with Fallout 76, right? They were like, yeah, Fallout 76 is gonna do all these things, and you remember the famous Todd Howard speech where he was like, every NPC that you see is not an NPC, it's actually a real person, and everyone's like, yeah, sure, all right. And then it came out and it was a technical disaster and it was just an incredible mess. Now, think about it this way. Now they're trying to do a thing with the Fallout engine that is now happening in space, okay? With different planets, with space flight, with loads of mechanics. I mean, Fallout didn't even have vehicles, right? So now they're not only adding like vehicles, they're going into space. So I'm pretty sure that behind the scenes right now, people are sweating, hoping that it will somehow work until launch, because they are struggling with getting it right and making it look good. That's my feeling, at least. And I boldly predict at this point a very, very bad launch in terms of the technical state of the game. Also, I've been following the Starfield subreddit, right? I've been on there hovering since, I don't know, since this game basically was announced, because I'm curious. And obviously it's the Starfield subreddit, so a lot of people like are there in order to kind of praise the game and to be positive, but it feels at times like people are coping quite hard in that subreddit. Let me see if I can find anything. Ready for the Dead Space style missions, right? Guys, the game is also gonna be Dead Space. Not only have we spaceflight, but you're gonna go into like bases and have crazy Dead Space missions. And it's like, I would prefer if Bethesda would just say, you know, we're doing less, but we're doing it really well. And then I agree with Patrick de Groot's comment to say the gameplay trailer looked not exactly incredible, okay? And keep in mind, like, obviously this is early footage, but it's like, look at this stuff, right? Let's look at this. There's nothing there. Sure, you can probably land somewhere over here and walk around, but what are you gonna do? Maybe you find like something you can mine. If No Man's Sky would have not existed, if that would have never come out, I'd be quite hyped. I'd be like, oh, this is gonna be cool. But having played No Man's Sky, this could absolutely also be like a planet in No Man's Sky, you know, and not even a pretty one. There are some detailed planets that just look incredible. Also notice, as we go through this gameplay trailer, that all the landscapes we see are quite barren. Right? So there's no foliage on here. It's just rocks, okay? And desert-style landscapes. Cool, spaceship lands. The spaceships look cool. You know, I don't want to just hate for the sake of hating. The creatures, don't know. Again, this could absolutely be a creature in No Man's Sky. You know, there's nothing where I'm like, oh, wow, look at this incredible scripted creature that is so uniquely designed. And this was just a joke. That you can harvest materials by shooting this laser at it. Bruh. This is No Man's Sky. Subculture Rents is here as well. The copium is real. That is unfortunately true. It seems that way. The copium of the Starfield subreddit, you know, people are like, oh my god, guys, I can't wait to explore all these thousands of planets that Todd Howard promised us. And it's like, oh god, Jesus Christ. Several times I caught myself getting close to like commenting and being like, guys, please keep your expectations in check. Well, seems like people, like you say, are coping too hard. Okay, let's keep going. Okay, let's keep going with the gameplay and we just go through it a little bit. So this at that point I was like, bruh, exactly like No Man's Sky, right? You shoot your laser, you probably have different weapons, and one is like, you know, harvesting materials. Another one is like shooting enemies and doing damage and stuff. So, and also like, oh, it's iron. It's an iron. It's literally No Man's Sky. I think they should have put some effort in being different, because obviously that's the game everyone compares it to. So I think it's harmful to Starfield to say, you know, this mechanic is similar and how the planets look is similar. Blah, blah, blah. The details of the bases. Keep in mind, this is obviously their showcase footage, right? This is the footage you put into a trailer. So they want to make it look as good as possible. Later, there are a few more shots of the base when they're walking on top of this roof. I'm going to talk about it then, I guess. The interiors look cool. Like, I don't mind this kind of footage. I think that looks good, except that already here it looks like it's stuttering at like 30 FPS. Okay, I mean, through the stream, it's probably even worse, but I can totally see like the game kind of struggling with this. But I guess that looks cool. Ultimately, I mean, what are they doing is they take gameplay from the Fallout games and amend it slightly, obviously in a sci-fi setting. So I expect this to be probably the most solid part, the interiors and the walking around with a gun and all that. I expect like the spaceflight and all that to be much more choppy, just in a technical state with crashes and glitches and all that kind of stuff. But who knows? Again, this is just me speculating. So this is what I mean. This is the footage I spoke about. Look at this. This, in my opinion, in 2022, okay, looks flat. Okay, this looks flat. The shadows are not dark enough. The textures are not crisp enough. The frames look choppy. Generally, the geometry looks boring. I'm sorry. You know, I like that the spaceship comes in and lands and then it picks you up or whatever. That's cool. The actual gun mechanics look clunky. And especially when I saw this part of the gameplay trailer, I was like, oh man, that just does... It looks flat, man. It looks like a manipulated Fallout engine, and I just hope that at some point, you know, if they would have said... Oh, here he is. If they would have said we're basing this game on Unreal Engine and we make it look freaking awesome, that would have sold it to me slightly more. Soul Voices says, it wouldn't be a Bethesda game without the bugs. That's true. It is kind of already a meme, right? Let's bring it up. Created by Bethesda Game Studios. It is kind of part of their brand at this point. And to be honest, people are forgiving. However, like when I played Skyrim, I kind of played that when it came out. I don't remember it being super glitchy. I don't remember constantly. I mean, it wasn't perfect by all means, but I don't remember like constantly thinking, oh, another glitch, another mess up, and It's not like Fallout 76, so there seems to be like a little bit of a decline in terms of quality or finish in the Bethesda games in recent years. Now let's look at this. New Atlantis, Planet of Jamison. So looking back here, you can already see kind of the end of it. Okay, obviously they're going to create these fairly small hubs that you can explore, so you don't have to walk like 45 minutes to get to this one weapon trader. It all has to be kind of reachable. So it's gonna be at the size of like a large Fallout city, and then around it is probably gonna be nothing. It doesn't look bad. You know, I'm not saying it's awful, but I don't know, man. To me, I'm just worried that this shit is gonna feel so half-hearted that they try to give you the impression, looking at this kind of footage, of like this big cyberpunk type city, right? Like the city in Cyberpunk or whatever, like big cities, futuristic space. But then actually you're quite quickly going to reach the boundaries of it. And this is just straight out of Fallout. This is just like the NPCs you talk to, how the conversation looks. That's just Elder Scrolls and Fallout once again. And you can see how Bethesda's like, guys, should we kind of reinvent how we're having conversations in the game and like dialogue with NPCs? And someone's like, nah, look, bro, we already have the script in place. Character, close-up camera, moves mouth, done. Let's not do that again. No, man. If you're reinventing yourself with a game like this and you're going into space, okay, you're trying to do something completely different, this is a no-go, man. You can't be like, it's the same as in other games you already had many times, right? If it would just be one Fallout game, I'd be like, okay, sure. But we've seen this since like 10 years. Since more than 10 years, they're pulling off the same stunt. It's just not adding to my hype, let's put it this way. I'm not saying it's like a crazy deal breaker, but not hyped because of things like that. Just want to see that they show me some other stuff here. Okay, so there's a little bit of a lush planet, okay. But again, look at it. Look at it. That's not a lush planet, right? There's a little bit of foliage around the city. The mountains and the area around it, not there. Still looks quite barren. This one, here's another planet. That looks like Mars. I think it is Mars. Okay, so that's another barren planet. Here's Paradiso, okay, and again, I expect Paradiso, some lush palm trees, but around it, rocky landscape. Okay, rocky landscape around this holiday resort or whatever it is. Obviously, this is cool. Okay, it's not saying anything negative about this. Again, I expect a huge empty planet with that in the middle, okay? Because I would say, if you want to create a game like Starfield and you want to reinvent your brand and you want to go into space and do something really fresh, then I show you what you do. And it's horrible that I'm now bringing up Star Citizen as an example. But Star Citizen had a tech demo, and I think it's in the game at this point already. But what they did is they generated like this algorithm, like a software algorithm that generates whole planet cities, okay? So this planet is auto-generated, okay? There is no barren landscape on this planet. It's a literal, physical, spherical planet, and everything you see on the planet is urban, is city, and it's generated by a computer. Nobody placed these assets, okay? So you can literally fly for, I don't know how long, 20, 30, 40 minutes around this planet, and all you will see is city, okay? And again, I don't know if you can land everywhere and walk around. Probably you can't. But I don't expect that. But what I'm saying is, I'm worried that Star Citizen is gonna be, you know, you get a few streets like this, but then you reach the edge of this city and there's your barren planet again, and the rest of the planet is just like all the other planets. So here we've seen a few planets now. I mean, we couldn't speak about this Paradiso one, Paradiso, whatever you want to call it. I you know, maybe that might be really green and lush, but most of them are rocky planets. They all look kind of same-ish, and I think that is because of the restrictions of the engine. They're like, bro, we can't have planets that have the complexity of some of the stuff that we see in No Man's Sky, that we see in Star Citizen and so on. So we gotta go. And again, like all this character, I don't know, some people are excited about this character customization. First of all, it looks exactly like it does in Fallout, and you just look in the mirror instead of having that interface in that game and design your character. But it's the same, bro. It feels the exact same. Cassandra says, it's all gonna feel hollow and soulless. That's such a harsh criticism, but I almost tend to agree. Like, there will be like planets to explore, but they will look like this, and there's nothing there, and you just walk around. You know, that's what you do. You like, and then this base building, right? Here they are building bases, and again, it feels very much like, guys, we have the base building assets from, or the mechanics from Fallout, right? Let's kind of do something similar and base it on that. And everything just feels like a recycling from another game a little bit. Again, it might be amazing. I don't want to be here like, oh, this is definitely gonna suck. So I'm not here to hate on the game, but just judging from all this footage, it worries me a little bit, okay? It worries me a little bit. That's all I'm gonna say. The cockpits look cool though, right? That stuff is cool. I like the cockpits that they showed. Not gonna lie, the conversation close-up parts remind me of the Outer Worlds. It's a weird mix. That's also true. Like the design direction, it's a weird merger of weird few different styles. Like, I don't know, maybe I'll change my opinion on that later on when the game is actually out and you finish and you're like, wow, that had like a really nice coherent design language. But looking at this trailer, I agree. It feels a bit all over the place. Over 1,000 planets, all open for you to explore. Todd Howard. You see? And the thing is, Todd Howard thinks when you say 1,000 planets, all for you to explore, people get hyped and people are like, this is great, Todd. But for me, the opposite is the case. I get worried. That shit worries me. When he said that, I was like, oh no. Oh no. Like, just do a few planets and make them pretty and have lots of stuff to explore, but not 1,000, and then it's just gonna be messy. And to be honest, I doubt there's gonna be 1,000. Here I am calling it now. Okay, I doubt there's gonna be 1,000 planets. Yeah, that's basically it. That's Starfield, right? And then all the space battles and dogfighting, which I think also will be a technical catastrophe. They're gonna feel really, really bad. Just because, again, like, you're forcing a mechanic into this engine that this engine was by no means made for. Okay, but Todd Howard says it's all great, so 1 trillion planets, everything looks awesome. Oh, here they give you an overview of the planets again. Like, check it out, okay? So here are the planets, okay? Let's go through them. Okay, barren planet, rocky planet. A few plants back here, sure. The one or the other palm tree every now and then, but barren. There, Mars, barren, okay? Maybe a few, like, spots of, like, bushes somewhere in the desert back here. I don't know if it is actually Mars. I assume it is, but barren planet, okay? Next planet. Ice planet. Barren, okay? Instead of rock, different filter. Now it's ice. Okay, we got this one. That's a city. That's not even a planet. I don't know how this planet will look, but presumably it won't be crazy lush. There it is again. Ice planet. Barren, okay? No foliage. Here, that's another planet. I don't need to repeat myself. It's pretty clear. Desert planet. Okay, here's another one. Crystals and rocks. Rock planet. Okay, here we have a forest planet, or at least some foresty area. Fair enough, there's one. You're in a desert. Every now and then you find an oasis. There's just not enough diversity for me here, okay? It looks pretty, don't get me wrong. Okay, like, it looks alright. But, I don't know, man. It all kind of looks same-ish. And it really looks like a struggle with this engine. That's how it looks like. Like, they're struggling to make that shit work on that outdated engine and still make a 2022 game, or 2023, I think it comes out. And then you go to Twitter and you get people coping so hard, okay? Because currently Starfield is trending and people are like, let me illustrate something here with Starfield and the wildly inaccurate comparison to No Man's Sky. Okay, first 3 images are Starfield. The last images is No Man's Sky. What do you notice? Okay, so let's take a look. So here we have Starfield, image number 1. Starfield, image number 2. Starfield, image number 3. What do we notice compared to this? I notice that he chose like a really disadvantageous, is that a word? Like a screenshot that really doesn't represent how beautiful No Man's Sky is. This does not sell No Man's Sky at all. So I notice that the guy has a clear bias towards Starfield, and that he really wants it to make it look good. That's what I noticed. Let's see what he noticed. Scale, realism. In Starfield, you can only ever see one planet on screen. Why? Because you can't see... Hold on, this beat annoys the living crap out of me. You can only see one planet on screen. Why? Because you can't see 5 freaking planets at the same time in real life. I mean, have you ever been to space? Yeah? Have you seen 5 planets at the same time? No, me neither, okay? So, obviously, Starfield, awesome. It's a very subtle point that I feel many won't pick up on at first. But what about the obvious one? The details. Look at every individual piece of geometry and shapes inside the ship. Look at every line, look at every particle in space. And then look at this horrible shot that I chose of No Man's Sky. Well, okay, that's not enough. Looks at the depth of the dialogue in both titles. Yes, that's actually how dialogue in No Man's Sky is. It's exactly like that for every single encounter. So here's the dialogue for Starfield, which is absolutely incredible. Amazing. That's just an amazing dialogue interface, absolutely worth tweeting about and saying how shitty it is in No Man's Sky. And then now we're looking at No Man's Sky. It's the same. It's the freaking same. I understand that they don't have the depth of like the facial textures and all that stuff, but it's the freaking same. Like, it's not that this guy, whatever his name is, Don Kebals, makes like a huge point. Jesus Christ. They're coping so hard, man. They really, really want, and I wouldn't be surprised, obviously here I am putting my tinfoil hat on. Yeah, my conspiracy hat. But I wouldn't be surprised if people like that, I don't know who's this person, like get paid for things like that. I don't know this, because it feels to me like, I speak on video games. Okay, so it's this guy. Okay, he's extremely hyped. Extremely hyped for Starfield. I'm not saying he's paid, okay? I'm not saying this. But I feel that Starfield does not get the hype that Microsoft wants it to have. Okay? So I think a lot of people wish that Starfield is going to be the next giant thing next year for Xbox, and that it kind of saves their reputation of having like first-party exclusives that are only on the platform. And people aren't perceiving it as such. You have like a medium-sized subreddit where people are like coping most of the time. And then you have tweets like this. It just doesn't feel like the hype is there. But anyway, we're gonna have to wait to see when this game actually comes out and how it will look and what it will do and all this kind of thing.